Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel, and you are watching my channel DNA Learning School, and my name is Dhananjay. So today we are so excited that we have come back to learn the things. So the next topic we are going to discuss is human eye and colorful world. Okay? Human eye and colorful world. Okay, in today's topic we are going to discuss about human eye and colorful world. Okay, what is a human eye? What is an eye? Eye is a wonderful thing. Okay, so what is an eye? Human eye? Eye is a sense organ. We know that it is an organ. So what does it do? It enables us to see the things. Okay, whatever things you want to see, the main sense organ we needed is eye. Then let's explore what and all in the human eye. Okay, so the main parts and functions. So what is a human eye? It is a sense organ which enables us to see. Okay, so how do we see the objects? How do we see the object? So when the light falls on the object and the object has to reflect the light. Okay, so when the object reflects the light, that reflected light ray will pass through our eye so that we sense that the organ is there. The object is there. Okay, it is a sense organ which enables us to see. Then what are all the parts it contains? So important parts of the eye. So what are the parts? Okay, so the parts of the eye are, the first part is cornea. Okay, the second part is iris, and the next one is pupil, and the next one is eye lens. Okay, the next one is ciliary muscles. Okay, so after ciliary muscles we have vitreous humor, after vitreous humor we have retina, after retina last part of the eye is optic nerve. Okay, so let's explore all these parts and what are they and what are their function. Okay, so let's begin. What is a cornea? So the cornea, the outer layer, the outermost layer of the eye, the outermost layer of the eye, the outermost layer of the eye is called cornea. Okay, so what is a cornea means? You have to just give a one word answer. The outermost layer of the eye is called cornea. And what are its functions? So functions are very important. So they will ask you for 1 mark and MCQs and all. So very important. You have to concentrate on functions also. So the function is it protects the eye. It protects. So what does it do? It protects the eye from dust and smoke. Okay, so if you want to you want to know what is cornea means, you know the book you have. So on that layer, one thin transparent layer. Okay, so the thin transparent layer of the eye, the outermost transparent, you can add transparent here. Okay, the outermost transparent layer of the eye. So what you have you have one book. So over that one layer will be it will be on the book. So that thin layer, what it says, so that is called cornea. So in our eye also, the outermost layer, it will contain a thin layer will be there. So the thin layer we call as cornea. Okay, the outermost thin layer of the eye is called cornea, and its function is it protects the eye from dust and smoke. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. An iris. So what is an iris? So when you look into the eye, so this kind of we have a diaphragm. So so this is called as iris. Okay, so definition for iris is a dark muscular diaphragm. Okay, diaphragm is called iris. Okay, the dark muscular diaphragm is called an iris. So it is a muscular diaphragm, it is called iris. And what are the functions? The main function of iris is it has two functions. So one is it lends color to eye. It lends color to eye. Okay. So we say that few people are black eyes and blue eyes and cat eyes. So why do we say that they are this kind of people? That is because of presence of an iris. Okay, so what does it do? Iris, so based on the color of the iris, we say that the blue color eyed people and like that, whatever we say. Okay, which means the iris, what does it gives? It lends color to eye. And what is the definition if they ask you what is iris means? You have to write this. A dark muscular diaphragm of the eye is called iris. The main function is it lends color to eye, and one more function is there. What does this? It controls the size of pupil. It controls the size of pupil. Okay, so we have pupil. So I will discuss the next part of the iris as pupil. So what is the function? Who controls the size of pupil? Iris. Okay, so next I will explain what and all the pupil is. Okay, so the main function of the iris is to control the size of pupil. Okay, next, so what is a pupil? A small circular opening, of the iris. Okay, so what is a pupil? So pupil, whenever you just see your friend's eye or whomever eye, you will have some blue color or whatever I say, cat color eye. Inside that we will have a small circular opening. So that is called pupil. Okay, so if they ask you the definitions, what is a pupil means? It's a small circular opening of the iris is called pupil. And what is the function of pupil? So it regulates the amount of light. So it regulates the amount of light entering eye. Okay, it regulates. So who regulates? Pupil regulates. Who regulates pupil? Iris regulates. Okay, sorry, iris controls. So which means how does the pupil regulates how much light has to be entered in our eye? Okay, how much light has to be entered in our eye? That is being controlled by the pupil. Okay, so they will ask you one more question. How does it controls? Okay, so how does it controls means whenever so suppose whenever you are looking at the brighter light, it's very difficult to focus the other light. Okay, so why does this so? Because whenever we see, okay, so this question they will ask you in the exam also. So how does the pupil will control, how does it regulates the light in our eye? Okay, when we see the brighter light, what happens? Pupil size, the size of pupil becomes small. Okay, so size of pupil becomes small. Who controls the pupil? We know that iris controls the pupil. Iris get contracts. Okay, iris get contracts and pupil becomes small. Size of pupil becomes small. So why when it becomes small? To see brighter light. Okay, when we see the brighter light, okay, when you see the brighter light, what happens? So the iris get contracts. So sorry, this iris get relax. relaxes. Okay, iris get relaxes. I mean, it gets relaxes. So the size of the pupil becomes small. Okay, and to see the dimmer light, to see the dimmer light, the size of the pupil become large. Okay, so this kind of questions they will ask you. So how does the pupil will controls the amount of light entering the eye? Next, a thin transparent jelly like a substance, a thin transparent jelly like a substance, jelly like a substance is called, what do we call? Eye lens. Okay, a thin transparent, so it is a transparent, it is made up of some kind of some jelly like a substance. Okay, that jelly like a substance, what do we call as a eye lens? Okay, what does the eye lens do? What kind of lens we have? We have convex eye lens. This kind of lens, what kind of lens we have? We have convex eye lens. And what is the function of this? It forms image on retina. Okay, so who forms the image on retina? That is our eye lens. What kind of eye lens we have? We have convex type of eye lens. Okay, this is also important. They will ask you the questions. Okay, what is an eye lens? If they ask you the definition, a thin transparent jelly like a substance of the eye is called as eye lens. Next, ciliary muscles. The muscles which holds the eye lens, okay, so the muscles which holds the eye lens. So when you see, what happens? So you will have a thin transparent jelly like that eye lens. This is being this is being held by some kind of muscles. We call it as ciliary muscles. Okay, so the muscles which holds the eye lens is called as ciliary muscles. And what is the function of ciliary muscles? What is the function? It helps in the relaxation and contraction. Okay, it helps in the relaxation and contraction of eye lens. Okay, so what is that eye lens? I will explain you the next topic, the power of accommodation. On that time you will understand the the ciliary muscles. But just now what you have to know is, see, it helps in the relaxation and contraction of eye lens, which means anyway it already holds the eye lens. It gets come closer, so means it comes together, so that the ciliary muscles get contracts, and sometimes it moves back, and so that it gets ciliary muscles relaxes. Okay, so it helps in the contraction and relaxation of eye lens. So anyway it holds the eye lens, so it goes back sometimes and it comes back sometimes. So this kind of relaxation and contraction, it is being done by ciliary muscles. Okay, so next is vitreous humor, a fluid present in the eye. Okay, a fluid type of some fluids will be there which is inside the eye, which is present in the eye. So that is called as ciliary muscles. Okay, so you have to note down all these points in your books, very important key points. Whatever I am giving, it is all some they are not in the textbook also. You have to mention that. Okay, so whatever please take down the note. Okay, whatever I am just telling. So the next one is retina. What is retina? The screen of the eye. Okay, the screen of the eye is called retina. Okay, so if they ask you, so what is retina? So whenever behind what happens after that, after our eye we have a screen. So this is kind of our eye lens, and this is held by ciliary muscles. Then this will be filled with vitreous humor, and this screen is called retina. Okay, so screen of our eye is called retina. So what is the function? So it's a just screen of our eye where real and inverted image is formed. Okay, so real and inverted image. So on which real and inverted image is formed? Real and inverted images formed on the retina. Okay, so at last we have optic nerve. So what is an optic nerve? And this is called optic nerve. The nerve which is the nerve which is connected. So which is connected between eye to brain. Okay, the nerve which is connected between eye to brain. So you have here one nerve that enters the eye. So this is straight away it is being connected to our brain. Okay, so what our brain will be there here, right? So the nerve which is being connected to our eye to the brain, that nerve is called optic nerve. Okay, so what is the function of optic nerve? What does it do? So whatever the image that has fallen on the retina. So okay, so you are seeing an image, right? Object. So real and inverted. So that image, real image means the image which can be caught on the screen. So our retina is the screen. So image will fall on our retina. So and also whatever the images that we see, all will fall like ulta. So that is called as inverted image. So that kind of image will fall on the retina. Okay. So whatever the image that has formed here, that will be converted into the type of electrical signals. Okay, electrical signals. Okay. So what is the function of optic nerve? It converts image information into electrical signals and sends to brain. Okay, so this is the main important function of optic nerve. What is an optic nerve? The nerve which is connected between the eye to the brain is called optic nerve. And what is the function of the optic nerve? The function of the optic nerve is it is being, it converts image information into electrical signals and sends it to brain. So this is the function of optic nerve. And at last, what is this? The region optic nerve enters the eye is called as blind spot. Okay, so what is blind spot? The region that optic nerve enters our eye, that region is called as blind spot. On blind spot, no image forms on the blind spot. This is important. Okay, so on the retina, it just all the kind of images will form on the retina, but on the blind spot, no images will be formed. Okay, this is about the important parts and functions of the human eye, which is very important, especially in MCQs. They will ask you on what is this and what are the functions. So these are all things you need to know. Okay, so the next part we'll continue with that. So next topic is power of accommodation. Okay, so what is power of accommodation? They will ask you for 1 mark question. See, the ability of eye lens. Okay, see, the ability of eye lens to adjust its focal length, the ability of eye lens to adjust its focal length to see the nearby objects as well as distant objects. Okay, so that's all the 1 mark question. So if they ask you what is power of accommodation, the ability of eye lens to adjust its focal length to see the nearby objects as well as distant objects. Okay, so nearby objects, whatever, so so you have used a camera. So camera, right? So what happens? So you are focusing the long distance image. For example, you are focusing the long distance image. At the same time, you will focus the nearby object. So on such cases, what happens? So you will see some blurriness in the camera. So what is that blurriness? So that blurriness is what we just say that. So our eye lens is a it takes some times to focus the object. So we can say that some 3 seconds or 2 seconds, it doesn't matter. So but exactly if you are focusing the long distance object, at the same time if you focus the nearby object, you will see some blurriness in the starting, then it focus the object. Okay, so but what about our eye? Our eye is not like that. Whenever you see the distant object, we can see sharply. At the same time, when I see the front object, nearby object, what happens? We do not get any blur kind of image. Okay, so what is that? Why? What happens? Okay, in our eye. So this phenomenon, okay, the phenomenon is called power of accommodation. Okay, so the ability of eye lens to adjust its focal length. Eye lens will adjust. Okay, so we have here eye lens. Okay, so here our eye. So we know what happens. The image will form on the retina. Okay, whatever the image. So here distant image. What happens? So this kind. How does it adjust? Okay, so very important. How does it adjust? They will ask you for more than 1 mark. Means so so this kind of questions they will ask you. If they ask you what is power of accommodation, you have to answer only this. Okay, the ability of eye lens to adjust its focal length to see the nearby object as well as distant objects. Okay, so if they ask you explain the power of accommodation, you have to write this kind of answer. So how does it adjust? To see the distant objects. Okay, so to see the distant objects. Okay, to see the distant object, ciliary muscles. Okay, ciliary muscles relaxes. Ciliary muscles relaxes. Eye lens become thinner. Focal length decreases. Okay, this is very important. See, you can, for example, you are seeing a distant object here. Okay, so you are seeing a distant object. These are the ciliary muscles. They will come closer. Okay, when they will come closer, and this whatever the eye lens you have. To see the distant object we are talking about. So the object is at a distant object. So when you see the distant object, ciliary muscles relaxes. It goes out. Okay, ciliary muscles relaxes and eye lens become thinner. So eye lens becomes thinner. Okay, what happens? Our focal length decreases. Okay, like this. Our focal length. So the distant object, we are seeing the far distant object, definitely the object has to be small. Okay, so what is the focal length? So this distance, here we have pole, this distance is called focal length. This focal length increases. Okay, so to see the distant object. Okay, so to see the distant object, ciliary muscles relaxes, eye lens become thin and focal length increases, and this is the focal length. You are seeing the distant object. Okay, at the same time your eye is seeing the nearby object. Okay, so suppose your eye is seeing the nearby object. So your nearby object. Okay, so what happens? to see the nearby object. So I am just writing this. This is an object. Sorry, this is an image. This is an object. So we are seeing the nearby object. When we see the nearby object, ciliary muscles get. So we have to write that. To see the nearby object. Okay. To see the nearby objects, ciliary muscles get contracts. Okay, ciliary muscles get contracts, eyelids become thicker, and focal length decreases. Okay, so very important for you. If they ask you explain the power of accommodation, you have to answer this for 2 mark questions. Okay, explain the power of accommodation. If they ask you what is power of accommodation, so they will ask you for the 1 mark question. You can just see that you are seeing the nearby object. You know, ciliary muscles, you know, both the muscles get contracts. Okay, so and you know the size. The size is, this is you know, thinner, and this becomes thick, and you know, this is the pole. This distance we call it as focal length. So the focal length decreases. Okay, these are the 3 things are very important you have to focus on. To see the distant object, ciliary muscles relaxes, eyelids become thin, focal length increases. To see the nearby object, ciliary muscles get contract, eyelids become thicker, and focal length decreases. Okay, these are very important. Almost most of the question paper in the last year also it is being repeated, most of the old question papers and all. What is power of accommodation? Very important topic. You have to note down and write as it is. Definitely you will get a good marks.